So today we start the day with a new sensation. She's Alice Merton and she's performing tonight in Madrid for the first time. So welcome to Spain, how are you?
Thank you, I'm good, thanks.
Your fan base is growing day by day since you released your first single, but for those who are discovering you right now through this interview, how would you describe yourself and more importantly, your music?
I would describe my music as being a mixture of organic kind of rock, but a little bit of pop in there, and dancey, but still using very raw sounds like a guitar, bass drum. So really going back to the roots. But myself, I would describe as, I don't know, outgoing, and I love making music, so probably a music fanatic.
And you're pretty young, but if we go back in time, do you remember the moment you thought, I want to try, I want to live this dream, I want to make music?
I mean, I started playing music when I was very young, so like when I was 5 years old. I definitely remember that. But the moment I actually realized I wanted to create my own music was a little later. I only started when I was like 16 or 17 writing songs, because I didn't know I could do that before. And the only really signs I had was when I would play a piano piece that was already written by a composer. I would always try and change certain things and be like, oh, that sounds better if I play it like this. And I think that was one of the moments where I should have realized, oh, maybe I can write a song. So.
And your roots are quite different. Your mother is German, your father British. You have spent a lot of time in Canada. But how are these cultures and experiences shaping your music?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. All I know is that each style I listen to in each country has definitely influenced it. And perhaps also the surroundings. I mean, in Canada, I grew up, Canada's a beautiful country. You have beautiful lakes. And in Germany, it was just a completely different culture. I was facing a lot of it was very difficult for me because I didn't understand the language, so I had to learn it from scratch. So I think that played a role in it as well. But yeah, I mean, in Germany, I discovered the Killers. So I was like 13, 14, and I loved listening to them. So I guess it depends on what I was listening to in each country.
And No Roots was your debut single, and now it's playing all day in Spain. But what can you tell us about that song? When and how did the song came up?
So the song, I wrote the song with my producer about 2 years ago. And the reason I wrote it was because I actually had the idea while I was visiting my parents on the beach in England. And because I had moved so many times, I've moved like 12 times in my life, lived in 4 different countries. I came up with the idea of having no roots, of not being at home in one place, but having my home in like different places and never on the ground.
And it's not easy to create a first song and then it became a huge hit. So you have 75 million views on the video and more of 70 million streams on Spotify. But what goes on in your mind when you see all those huge numbers in just your first single?
I never really connect the numbers to people. That's my problem. So I just look at the number and it's just a number for me. I'm like, oh, that many people have watched it. I mean, it's weird when you look at comments. I think comments are the weirdest part because you see like the most random things ever. And that's when I kind of realize that there are actually people behind it. But I don't really think about it, to be honest. It's not really something I think about.
It's not something that puts on you pressure to other songs?
In the beginning, it was a little scary, I guess, because it was growing quite quickly. But now I want to put out music that I like, and I hope people will want to listen to it, and I want people, I want as many people to listen to it as possible. But I try not to really think about that.
And you have also an EP that is called as the single, but tell us about it and what can people find inside it?
So the EP has now 5 songs on it. Actually, well, in Europe I think it's 4, but now with our new single it's 5. And it basically talks about a phase I was going through at the time I was writing the EP, of a lot of things, a lot of feelings that were happening. I was obviously very upset about the whole no roots thing, and I didn't feel at home anywhere. So that's where the no roots thing came from, and I was putting my home into people, and that's where what jealousy and lie to my face came from, where there was just a trust thing that was breaking, and I felt like I had lost my home again. And then Hit the Ground Running was talking about the fact that I was trying to get signed by different labels, but they kept on telling me my music wasn't good enough, or that I'd have to change it. And so yeah, it's just a lot of different feelings and experiences I was going through at the time.
And your songs are about your personal experiences, but how important is to you sharing all those first-person stories?
It's hard to share them sometimes, but I don't think I could write a song that wasn't an actual experience, because I feel like I'd be lying to myself or lying to other people. I feel like when I make music, the only reason I do it is to share what I've experienced with others, and for me to deal with it in certain ways, of understanding it better. And yeah, if I wrote a song that wasn't a personal experience, or just didn't have like a meaning to me, I wouldn't have fun performing it, and you'd see that.
Yeah. And let's talk about your new single, Lash Out. Came out last Friday.
Yes.
But what can you tell us about that song, and what inspired you to write it?
So Lash Out talks about not being scared of really expressing your actual feelings. I feel like I've been in a lot of situations where I've had to hold back what I'm actually thinking. I've had to kind of suppress those emotions, and sometimes it just collects and collects and collects, and I lash out. And I think one of those times was when I was when I was working with various producers, and they didn't take me seriously. They didn't take my music seriously, or labels where they were like, you know what, it's not good enough. And I really had to prove myself to people, and I wanted to put all that emotion into Lash Out, and just kind of have a song where I go crazy, where I can just let it out all in one song.
And after your first EP and this new song, what's next for you? Are you preparing an album?
I am preparing an album, and it will be coming out in autumn, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, other than that, it's a lot of touring. Just touring, playing lots of concerts, and having a good time.
And what do you want to show in that album, and which part of the process are you?
Well, we're actually getting towards the end process. We have the songs, we just need to finish the productions. And it's going to be an exciting album, because I think a lot of people expect a lot of the songs to be like No Roots. But it's not all going to be like that. For me, it's very important that every song sounds like the actual emotion that's being put into the song. So there's going to be a mixture. It's like a box of chocolates where you have no idea which chocolate you're going to get.
And I know you created some time ago with your manager your own label, Paper Plane Records International, but how did you decide to start that new business?
We basically decided to start it after everyone told us that they wouldn't release my music, or if they did, I'd have to change it. And I'm very stubborn, and people who work with me know that. So me and my manager sat down, and we talked through all the options of, I mean, I could sign with a major label at the time, but then I'd have to change a lot of the things, and I didn't want to do that. So we came up with the idea of starting our own label, and yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of work, but I think it gave me creative freedom, and that was very important to me.
And as a songwriter, when you start writing a song, are you from this that start first with the melody and then you build up the lyrics, or the other way around?
It's very different. Every song is different. Often, while I'm traveling, I always collect lyric ideas, so I'm always writing stuff down, writing sentences down that I like. And when I go into the studio, when we play a few melodies or if we play bass lines or riffs, I can often hear what riff sounds good with that word. Like you just have a feeling that it goes together. And that's the beginning phase. And then you kind of work on the melody, and my producer will work more on the production, like on the arrangement and what instruments will be played, and I work on the melody, the lyrics, and put that together.
And in May you're going on tour with Ben Joy, but how is Alice Merton on tour, on stage?
Energetic and emotional and full of fun.
And to know you a little bit better, we know dreaming is something we do oftenly big, but which would be your dream collaboration?
My dream collaboration would be with Brandon Flowers from The Killers.
That's really good one. And of all the songs of music history, which one would you like to, would you have liked to write or sing originally?
Your Song by Elton John. Love that song.
And just to be finishing, and now you are for the first time in Spain with your music starting to sound in every radio here. What's the next big dream or challenge you would like to accomplish?
I don't know. I don't really have goals that I set because I feel like if I don't reach them, I'm very disappointed with myself. So I try and work as hard as I can and then see what happens. I think I used to set a lot of goals and then sometimes I wouldn't reach them and I'd be very, very disappointed with myself and very upset. So now I just work as hard as I can and am open for what happens.
Well, thank you so much for letting us enjoy your time here, and see you tonight.
See you tonight.